What if the secrets to raising a successful child had nothing to do with the school they attend, the tutor you have, or their natural intelligence? What if it came down to something so simple, so accessible to every parent, that you could start today, right now in your own home? Stay with me, because in the next hour, I'm going to share everything you need to raise a child who doesn't learn for grades, but learns for life. And that takes us to today's topic of our very first free course in the year, and that is how to raise a child who loves learning. Before we begin, my name is Frances Hammond, and I am the CEO of Parenting Bloom Institute. I'm the founder 2 years of Parenting Bloom Institute, where we teach parents to raise wholesome children. Today, we're going to talk about a very important topic bothering lots of parents: raising children who loves learning. You see, let me tell you something, especially for us, I don't know about other generations, but especially for us as parents, or millennial parents to be specific, for the majority of us, emphasis on majority, not all, but for the majority of us, so we have exams to write, nothing will push us or compel us to take a book to read. Because unfortunately for us in our schools, we were so traumatized when it came to learning, so much so that if it has nothing to do with exams, count us out. And that's why for some people, they even struggle to read the Bible. Most people read the Bible out of guilt because it's like, oh, the word of God, I'm not reading it. But that is why we are here today, to teach you not to repeat the same mistakes with your children, i.e., the generation to come. You want to instill in your children a love for learning, not just for grades, but for lifelong. Follow me as we delve on this topic: how to raise a child who loves learning. We're going to start our class with knowing what a lifelong mindset is, like a lifelong learning mindset is. You know, I like to explain things with science for you to understand where we are coming from. And I'd like to share something from Dr. Carol Dweck, who is at Stanford University. She says, she defines it as growth mindset as the belief that abilities can be developed through dedication and hard work. If, as a child, or your child has this mindset, there are certain things you realize about that particular child. You realize that child loves to achieve more, that child bounces back after failure, and that child is intrinsically motivated. So whether or not there's exam, the child is going to still put in the effort because they simply are intrinsically motivated. And for those of us in this class who does not know what intrinsic motivation is, it's motivation that is coming from within, that is coming from a genuine desire to do something or to know something. So if I only learn because of exam, I won't be intrinsically motivated to take a book to read, especially on vacation or when I do not have exams to write. And so if you realize when you give birth to your child, that child was an eager learner, always experimenting with things. You put them down, they take things, they put in their mouth, they press things, they do this, they do that. And even as a new parent, it can be frustrating at times, but that is data for you. Last time on our social media pages, I was talking about collecting data. That is data for you. And that data is proof that your child is an eager learner. Your child has the ability to learn. But along the way, when they are growing up, things happen in our schools, things happen in our homes, things happen in the environments we put them in, and that love for learning dies down. And so this afternoon or this morning or this evening, depending on the time you are watching this video, we are going to talk about some of the reasons why children lose their love for learning. The very first thing I'd like to talk about is wrong rewards. Wrong rewards. As parents, we love to praise intelligence instead of efforts. And praising intelligence instead of efforts creates a fixed mindset. Which causes children to avoid challenges to protect their identity. And so you hear parents say things like, oh, you're smart, oh, you're this, oh, you're that. Meanwhile, from your end, you are doing this to encourage that child to learn, but it's actually doing the opposite in your child. So whenever the child faces a circumstance or is in a position and realizes that I cannot do this thing I'm going to fail, instead of tackling it head on, they're going to sit on the fence and not do it at all because they know that they'll fail at this thing because they have a fixed mindset. The opposite of lifelong learning is having a fixed mindset. So instead of even putting in the little effort, oh, let me try this thing to see whether I'll be able to do it, they'll rather sit on the fence because instead of trying and failing, they'll rather not start at all. And unfortunately, it was caused by you, the parent or the caregiver. It was caused by you. Unfortunately. So this day, today, this afternoon, I would like you to purpose to not praise intelligence. Instead of praising intelligence, we'll go to what you can do instead. You have to praise effort, but you'll get there. Another reason why children lose their love for learning is fear of failure. Fear of failure. But before I talk about fear of failure, I just remember the story from my primary school days. In the school I attended, we had 3 classes. All of the students who were deemed intelligent were put in the class. So if it's 50 students, all of us were deemed the intelligent ones. And then the very next class had the not so intelligent, not so smart, not so, for lack of a better word, dumb students. And then the last class, we had the students who were termed dull were the ones who were put there. This happened so many years ago. But even as adults, when we meet our classmates, you realize that it still affected them till date. Till date. What the teachers were doing was that they wanted to motivate us to learn, especially those in the middle and the very last classes, that, oh my God, the aim should be to move from the last class to the first class. So it'll be like, oh, we are putting in the extra effort. So they were rather focusing on intelligence, which, as I've said, was rather creating the opposite. Because at a point, the students did not just care anymore. Some were so comfortable where they are. But whether they were intelligent or not so intelligent or dumb, that's for another discussion for another day. I personally believe they're not any dull children. That's my belief, my personal belief. One of the quotes I love is, if you cannot, if a child cannot understand how you teach the child how they learn. So that's what the teachers did. They were praising intelligence instead of efforts. And that went a long way to affect all of us. Even we in the very first class, the intelligence class, even we are always focusing on things, it's like we skip process and focus on the end goal. Even we. So that leads me to, before I go to my next point, parents, before you choose a school for your child, know what goes in there. Don't worry, I'll be teaching these things in our upcoming classes, so you understand it better. But today, we are focusing on why children lose their love for learning. The very next reason why children lose their love for learning is fear of failure. Fear of failure. You know, in certain homes, too much shame is used. And when you use too much shame on the child, that child learns to stop taking risks. But failure is a tool on your parenting journey. Yes, it is a tool on your parenting journey. When you look at biblical figures like Moses and Peter, they failed at first. They failed at what they were tasked or required to do, but they learned from it. So if my parents, oh Shay, you couldn't do maths, you had to overturn, oh this, oh that, you are rather killing the child. And not just what you are doing is in the moment, but it has a ripple effect. Your child will grow up to be an adult, and then it's like they're just there. Nothing motivates them, not even intrinsic motivation. Because that shame has killed something in them. So the child God gave you, eager to learn, now becomes a child who just cannot be bothered. At all. Yeah. At all. At all. If you're a parent on this table using shame on your children, purpose in your heart today to stop it. Because you are killing the soul of the child. You may not see it today, but tomorrow you realize it. And it'll be too late for you as a parent. It will be. There's no one perfect. All of us fail. But the only difference is you should know what to do with failure. One thing I tell my children is, when you do something and fail, you find out another way not to do it. So, for example, if they are going to prepare popcorn and they decide to add, let's say, water instead of oil, I tell them, look, you just found out that when you're preparing popcorn, you don't use water. Or if they use high heat and the popcorn gets burnt, what I tell them is that you just found out how not to, you just found out the wrong temperature to use for preparing popcorn. Because I want them to understand that failure is a tool. If you don't sit with your failures, you keep on repeating them. There's this quote I love. I've forgotten the author of the quote. It says, until you are aware of the unconscious, I can't really quote it verbatim. So you're aware of the unconscious, you call it, let me try remembering it. Don't worry, I'll share it in one of the classes. I think till you become conscious of the unconscious, you call it destiny, something along those lines. Yeah. Shaming children. No. If you're a parent, please stop using shame. It's killing your child than you know. More than you know. More than you know. More than you know. Stay with me. Number 3 reason why children lose their love for learning. No purpose. It's like we tell children, oh, write your exam and pass and finish school. If I hear him say that before, type in the comment section, I've said that before. Or it will be on the test, we'll just do it. Just do it to pass your exam. After the exam, you don't need it. So it's like, children realize that they are learning for learning's sake. It's not connected to anything. There's no purpose. There's no purpose. And as parents, especially as parents of faith, you need to connect learning to God's calling on their lives. So for example, if God has given you an engineer to raise, you cannot just say, oh, write the exam and pass and forget about it. If as an intentional parent, you realize that your child is on that path, you can say, look, as you are learning, develop ways and means you can apply what you are learning. Ways and means of applying what you are learning. That's why I love the story of William Nkamkwamba. If you are here and you're on Netflix, they recreated the story. I think the title on Netflix is The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind. But the story of William Nkamkwamba is a boy who, I forgot the country, but he was from one of these African countries, and there was drought in the land for a very long time. There was no water, crops and everything were dead. But he loved learning and going to school. So one day when he went to his school's library, he saw a book on creating windmills. And the book was showing a step-by-step way of creating a windmill. And so he went around the town, took scraps, took this, before he realized he had built the windmill. And then he decided to put it to the test. And when he did it, he realized that, oh, when you do it, water can actually come from the ground. And before long, the dry land, the very country where crops could not grow, the very country where water could not be found, started producing water. And guess what? They started replanting and crops grew. Simply because there was a child in that country who had a love for learning. Because there was no food and there was drought, even the schools were closing down. But he had to sneak into his school's library. So if Ibrahim Kankwamba was the child who was learning only for tests, like the way you just learn and pass and forget, up, chill, poor, pass, forget, he wouldn't have gone to the library, read the book, and practiced what the book said. But because the motivation to learn was intrinsic, he decided to, against all odds, do it. I think he should watch that movie, The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind. Solid movie, solid guy. Because of that child who was intrinsically motivated, he was able to harness the wind for water to come from the ground. And that's the aim you should have as a parent, to raise children who simply love to learn. And you may ask, Coach Fran, how can I raise children who love to learn and not just for grades? Stay with me, I'll show you. You are still in the class. Oh, just chill, poor, pass, forget. And then that's just it. No purpose for learning, nothing. And then the children just also follow suit. They cannot even apply it in practical terms. It's like when we're in school. Oh, what is matter? Matter is anything that has with an occupied space. What is this? The elements. Iron, phosphorus, sulfur, this, that. We cannot correlate it to anything, especially for us as students. Even the science students, they took it further because they were things they use in everyday life. But for us, as students, it's like we're reciting poems. It's like we're reciting poems. The elements, nitrogen, calcium, this, that. We wrote the exam, we passed, we forgot about it. That's it. Now, and number 4 reason why children lose their love for learning is no modeling. You see, on this parenting journey we are on, it's not do as I say, it is do as I do. If you want to raise children who read, you have to be a reading parent. If your children never see you learning, they also not learn. Learning won't feel natural to them. You cannot be scrolling on social media and telling your children to read. It doesn't work that way, my mom. It doesn't work that way, dad. It doesn't simply work that way. Children do what they see their parents do. And so if you want to raise lifelong learners, your children should see you learning. Your children should see you putting the work to become better. Yes, your children, they should see you do all of those things. Now, in this part of the class, we are going to talk about strategies, because what you've done is awareness. Looking at the reasons why children lose their love for learning. Now I'm going to teach you strategies. Strategies that will help you raise children who love learning. Number 1, I'm really getting emotional in this class because anytime I think of that William Kankwamba story, it blows my mind. It really blows my mind. It really does. Please excuse me. So sorry about that. I had to attend to something. Now we're going to look at strategies of raising lifelong learners. Number 1, Connect learning to purpose. Connect learning to purpose. You see, when God created your children, one of the popular scriptures we love as Christians is, by the way, PBI is a Christian parenting program. We are Christian, our faith is in Christianity. And so you usually hear me use Bible quotations in all of our teachings. However, if you are Muslim or you do not believe in the faith, it's fine. Just listen to the teachings and apply them. Jeremiah 29:11, very popular verse, which says, "For I know the plans I have for you, plans of good and not of evil, plans to bring you to an expected end." Help your children see that whatever they learn connects to who God has created them to be. So if I've been called to be an engineer, everything I learn, I should be able to apply it. I read the story of a young man who, he loves to create with his hands, and he loves to read. So he decided that he's on a bunk bed with his sister. So his sister's on the lower bed and he's on the upper bed. And whenever he reads, he doesn't want to put his book on the bed and sleep. And so he decided that he'll create a lever. When he pulls the lever, he'll put the book on the lever and pull it down. Then the book will fall on the table by the lower side of the bed. This is a child who's connecting learning, like he's implementing whatever he learns. And that's what you need to do with your children. Implementation, key, very solid. Very solid. Whatever your children are learning, learn it with them and show them ways to implement it. That is why on this journey, you cannot say, "Oh, I do not have time, I'm so busy, I have to look for money, parents without money is a clown." We say all of these things. But children are not part of the important work. They are the important work. They are the important work. Number 2 strategy. Reading together consistently. Reading together consistently. You see, on this reading journey, on this parenting journey, reading is a non-negotiable. Make it a family ritual. Let your children see books in your hands. Visit the library together. That is why I keep saying, you cannot say I'm busy, I don't have time, I work a 9 to 5. Yes, it's true. You have to work. But at the same time, you need to have time for your children. You cannot be scrolling daily on social media and tell your children to take a book and read. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. In my family, we have a budget for books. Yes. Remember my question, we have a budget for books. Our house is full of books. Because books won't come down from heaven and fall in your house. Last time we held a reading challenge for children. Look, parents, before we continue the class, we are going to repeat this reading challenge this year again. Every year we are going to hold reading challenges for children. So get prepared. Last year it was huge. This year is going to be much better. We are going to have so many programs for parents, and we're also going to have a reading challenge for children. So get prepared and let your kids join. We are going to provide you with the books as well. So fingers crossed, we have a lot up our sleeves for you. When we started the reading challenge, in fact, the number 1 reason why I had to get the books for parents come up and complain, "Oh, my children, we don't have so many books at home." It was a 30-day reading challenge, by the way. So I remember one parent telling me, "Oh, they have like 5 books, so maybe after day 5, they will not be able to participate in the likes of that." And I remember telling the parents, so you buy books for your children, books will come from anywhere into your home. And I'm not talking about school book, textbooks, workbook, maths, page 95, no. We are talking about good books, solid books. As you are buying for them, you are buying for yourself. You read, they read. They see you read with them. You read to them. And then you discuss, you hold reviews. Because there's one quote I like by Dr. Seuss. The more you read, the more you know. The more you read, the more you know. And so even before there's intrinsic motivation, there's reading. And I'm not saying read with them today and then you continue in 3 months' time. No, it has to be consistent. Even if it is every other day, you are ahead of that parent who is not doing so. And so I'm teaching you today, have a budget for books. If you cannot buy new books, buy pre-loved books. There are lots of them. Lots of them. Look for them, you find them. They are cheap books, buy them. And when you buy them, read through them to know that you are giving your children very good books and not any adult book in children content. Buy them and read together. Read consistently. There's a part of your life that is closed if you don't read. And it is true. And it is true for us as parents. If you want to raise a lifelong learner, read. Number 3 strategy. Celebrate progress over perfection. In your home environment, make sure that you create a culture of celebrating progress. Did I just say progress? Of celebrating process. Don't just say, oh my God, you got 9/10. You should be proud of yourself. So I can see how you learned hard for that test. And I can see it reflect in your marks. When you do that, that child will pause and say, look, my mom is looking at process. Hey, because if I are looking for, hey, you're the best reader in the class, hey, you have 10/10, hey, you did this, hey, you did that, child will always be looking at progress. And the day they fail, they'll see themselves as failures. Process over progress. Process over progress. In life, everything follows that same principle. Process over progress. I can see you worked hard on that recipe and it reflects in the taste of the food. Well done. Well done. What you say to your children eventually becomes their inner voice. Eventually becomes their inner voice. So be intentional for what you say to your children. And we cannot talk about raising lifelong learners without talking about your role as a parent. A couple of days ago, I made a post on social media about us being intentional as parents. I'm going to repeat it here. The goal is not to be a perfect parent. The goal is to be an intentional parent. Your children don't need a perfect parent. They need a present one, a curious one, and a faithful one. One who points them to the God who designed them to grow, to wander, and to flourish. So as parents, you have a role to play. You have to be very intentional about the role you play. You have to be very and extremely intentional about the role you play as a parent. Your home environment matters. Your home environment matters. When we began this class, I told you the story of the school I attended. I don't even think majority of the parents, our parents, at the time knew this was what was happening in the schools. They put the intelligent one in first class, the average ones in second class, and the not so smart ones in the third class. So even before the child comes through, that child's spirit is down. And then maybe unfortunately when that child comes through, you are going to add shame. You're not going to read to the child and with the child. You're not going to be consistent as a parent. You're not going to correlate whatever is taught them into how they can implement them. You're going to raise someone who is just going to chew poor pass forget. Chew poor pass forget. And I look at us even as parents. Even as parents. The degrees we are chasing, majority of us are not using. Some parents are using it though, But for the majority of people, even the students in schools, they're not using it. No, they aren't. They aren't. And so as parents, you matter. Whatever you do matters. You have to be intentional. Let me give you an example. If your child walks up to you and asks you a question you don't know, you say, okay, I don't know what you're talking about. I think we should find out together. So if you have to do research, if you have to watch documentary, whatever it is you have to do, do it. When you do that, you are showing the child that if you do not know a thing, you learn about it. If you do not know a thing, you learn about it. That child should see you, the parents, being curious. I don't know how to fry pancakes. And the last time we went out, the pancakes we ate were so good. I think I'll find a recipe on how to make pancakes and I'll try it together. Would you like to join me? What do you think you are doing to that child? You are modeling curiosity in a healthy way to that child. And so, dear parents, the onus lies on you. You have a role to play. The teacher, it's not that's role you have to play. It's not the teacher who plays. It's not the nanny who plays. It is you, the parent. It is you, the parent. And if you are here, you're a caregiver or a school owner or whatever it is, if children are involved in your lives, pay attention to these things. Pay attention to these things. If you got value from this class, get ready. We are going to bring more value. And we are going to start our 1-year accountability program for parents to learn more of these things and how to implement them. If you want to join, comment below in the comment section and I'll personally DM you. There's a lot for us to learn as parents. There's a lot of work ahead of us and we need to put in the work. If you do not put in the work, your children will not become geniuses. Because ordinary parents do not raise geniuses. To raise an extraordinary child, you have to be an extraordinary parent. And whatever you don't know, you have to learn. And that is why we come in as an institute, teaching parents to do these things, teaching parents what to know. Gone are the days of us saying, no one knows what they are doing in parents, we are all winging it. Please, no, we are not all of us are winging it. Some of us know what we are doing, and we are doing it with our full chest. We are doing it intentionally, and we are seeing results. And we are seeing results. And that is why we are bringing whatever we have to you, so that you also raise results. I think I posted something, a reel on social media yesterday, and I was talking about, I don't remember. I was talking about something. When I remember, I'll let you know. But something along is like what we are talking about right now. What we're talking about right now. Novices do not raise geniuses. Novices do not raise geniuses. Put in the work as a parent. Put in the work as a parent. Put in the work as a caregiver. Model learning for your child. I've shared with you the reasons why children lose learning and the strategies for them to learn how to love learning or for them to be intrinsically motivated. And I've shown you your role as a parent. Parents, please put in the work because there's a lot to be done. There's a lot to be done. And get ready for upcoming courses. Get ready to join our accountability program. We have a lot for you. So just get ready for us. My name is Frances Hammond. I'm the founder of Parenting Bloom Institute. And I hosted this class for parents today. Subscribe to our channel, like and share. Share to other parents, share to your school groups. Let parents listen to this audio and learn from it. As usual, my name is Frances Hammond, and I cannot wait to see you in our next class. Bye.